During my lunch break, I sat alone in the corner of the cafeteria, staring down at a sandwich I barely tasted. My thoughts were elsewhere: risk assessments, audit timelines, the quiet tension that had been following me for weeks. Then my phone vibrated. A motion alert. It was from my office webcam. Normally, I ignored those notifications. At Redstone Compliance Group, even shifting sunlight or the cleaning crew could trigger the sensor. But this one pulsed again, sharper somehow. A strange tightness settled in my chest. I unlocked my phone and opened the live feed. My manager, Veronica Hale, burst into my office so abruptly the camera shook. Two people followed close behind her: Daniel Cross from Internal Compliance, and a younger analyst I didn't recognize. Veronica didn't hesitate for a second. "Check everything," she ordered. "She's hiding it in here." "I know she is." The sound crackled through the speaker, but her certainty came through clearly. The back of my neck went cold. Daniel moved straight to my desk, pulling open drawers one after another. Papers spilled onto the floor. The younger analyst leaned over my monitor, tilting it as he snapped photos. Veronica stood in the center of the room, arms crossed, chin raised, surveying my office like it already belonged to her. "She keeps records of everything," Veronica said sharply. "If it exists, it's in this room." I tightened my grip on the phone. None of them realized the webcam was still live. None of them knew I was watching in real time, as they searched for something they believed could end me. "Bottom drawer," Veronica said, lowering her voice. "That's where she keeps sensitive material." My breath caught. The bottom drawer was locked. Daniel hesitated. "This one's secured." "Break it," Veronica snapped. "We have authorization." My heart hammered as he forced it open. The moment the drawer slid free and Veronica leaned forward to look inside, her expression changed completely. The color drained from her face. Her lips parted. She stepped back as if she'd touched something dangerous. The camera froze on that moment, fear, recognition, disbelief tangled together. I stared at the screen, barely breathing. "What exactly did you expect to find, Veronica?" 6 months earlier, Veronica Hale had walked into Redstone Compliance Group like someone stepping onto a stage she believed belonged to her. I remembered her introduction clearly: the polished smile, the tailored blazer, the confidence filling the room before she spoke. "I come from a fast-growth firm in New York," she announced. "We move quickly. No hesitation. No dead weight." When she said dead weight, her eyes flicked toward me. I was Lauren Pierce, Senior Risk Analyst. I had been with Redstone for 7 years, long enough to know when ambition was disguising a warning. And that was only the beginning. That same afternoon, Veronica called me into her office. "Lauren Pierce," she said, scanning me the way someone examines a tool before deciding whether it's useful. "Senior Risk Analyst." "That's right," I replied. "I've reviewed your performance files," she continued. "You're thorough." She said the word like it carried a flaw. "The board wants faster movement this quarter," she added, sliding a folder across her desk. "Your risk thresholds are conservative. We need flexibility." I opened the folder. The projections inside were aggressive, too aggressive. The margins were tight, the assumptions optimistic to the point of fiction. "What exactly do you mean by flexibility?" I asked. She leaned back, smiling. "Clean the numbers. Adjust the thresholds. Make the outlook smoother. Investors like stability." "That violates internal policy," I said calmly. "And federal compliance guidelines." Her smile thinned. Policy bends when it has to. No, I replied. It doesn't. The room shifted. Her expression hardened, something sharp settling behind her eyes. You're going to make this difficult, aren't you? She asked. I'm going to make it accurate. From that moment on, everything changed. At first, it was subtle. Conversations stopped when I walked into rooms. Meetings appeared on calendars without my name attached. I'd hear my work discussed secondhand, stripped of context, delivered as if it came from someone else. She's capable, Veronica would say to directors, just loud enough for me to hear. But rigid. Old-fashioned. Not adaptable to modern pace. Some colleagues repeated her words without realizing where they came from. Others avoided me entirely. A few watched quietly, unsure which side would be safer. I stayed silent. Instead of reacting, I started documenting. Emails that contradicted reports. Edits made after approvals. Instructions given verbally that never appeared in writing. I told myself I was being cautious, not paranoid. That this phase would pass. It didn't. 3 weeks later, I pulled up a monthly risk report I had already signed off on. The version in the system wasn't mine. Thresholds were looser. Definitions altered. Dates shifted. I printed both versions and walked straight to Veronica's office. This isn't the report I approved, I said, placing the pages on her desk. She barely glanced at them. Relax. Everyone massages numbers. You changed a signed document, I said. She smirked. Or maybe you forgot what you submitted. That afternoon, as I passed the glass conference room, I heard her speaking to Director Lanning. I'm not sure Lauren should have sensitive access anymore, she said softly. Her judgment worries me. His quiet hum of agreement landed harder than anything else she'd done. That was the moment I understood the truth. My integrity wasn't a trait she disliked. It was a liability she intended to remove. After that conversation, I stopped hoping the situation would resolve itself. Hope was no longer a strategy. That night, long after most of the floor had emptied, I stayed at my desk and opened a new folder on my computer. I gave it a name that meant nothing to anyone else, Archive 1. No red flags. No drama. Just a quiet place to store the truth. The first file I saved was the altered monthly risk report. I placed my original version beside the edited one and captured screenshots of both. Then I pulled the system timestamps. The edits had been made hours after my sign-off, when I was already home. Next came the emails. Veronica's messages to me, demanding strict thresholds. Her messages to the team, claiming I'd approved looser ones. Read side by side, they didn't just contradict each other, they exposed intent. I organized everything by date and category, careful and methodical. Not emotional. Not rushed. Then I accessed the admin logs. One line stopped me cold. User, V. Hale, override authorization, 2341. I wasn't logged in at that time. I checked my own access history to be sure. Clean. No activity. She had used her credentials to force changes under my department's name, counting on no one ever looking closely enough to notice. My hands shook, not with fear, but with clarity. I encrypted the files and copied them to an external drive secured with a passphrase only I knew. Then I selected a small set of printouts, just enough to show patterns, not enough to overwhelm, and placed them into a plain binder. Across the front, I wrote, Training Notes 2024. It was boring. Invisible. Exactly what it needed to be. I slid the binder into my bottom desk drawer and locked it. For a moment, I stared at the metal handle, imagining Veronica's hand pulling it open, convinced she'd find something incriminating. She would. Just not what she expected. Over the next few weeks, the pressure increased. I was left off more meetings. Decisions I should have signed off on were finalized without me. When mistakes surfaced, my name hovered nearby, never attached outright, but always implied. Veronica never confronted me directly again. She didn't need to. She was building something quietly, brick by brick. A story. One where I was the problem. I responded by doing my job flawlessly and documenting everything twice. I didn't argue in hallways. I didn't defend myself in meetings. I let her grow confident, careless. Because people who believe they've already won always make mistakes. And Veronica was starting to believe that very soon, I wouldn't be there to contradict her at all. The alert came during my lunch break. I was sitting alone with a sandwich I barely tasted when my phone buzzed with a motion notification from my office webcam. Normally, I would have ignored it. Cleaning crews, stray light, false triggers happened all the time. This time, something felt wrong. I opened the feed. Veronica Hale stormed into my office so fast the camera shook. Behind her were two compliance officers, Mark Reynolds from Internal Controls and a younger analyst I didn't recognize. "Check everything," Veronica ordered sharply. "She's hiding it here." Cold rushed up the back of my neck. Mark went straight for my desk drawers, yanking them open. Papers scattered onto the floor. The younger analyst leaned over my monitor, snapping photos. Veronica stood in the center of the room, arms crossed, chin raised. She looked certain. Not curious. Not cautious. Certain. "She keeps records," Veronica said. "If it exists, it's in this room." They had no idea the webcam was still running. No idea I was watching every second. "Bottom drawer," Veronica said, lowering her voice. "That's where she keeps sensitive material." Mark hesitated. "It's locked." "Break it if you have to," she snapped. "We're authorized." My heart pounded as he forced it open. The second the drawer slid out, Veronica leaned forward and froze. The color drained from her face. Her lips parted slightly. She took a step back, as if something inside the drawer had burned her. The camera captured it all. Fear. Recognition. Disbelief. The binder sat exactly where I'd left it. Plain. Labeled. Harmless. Training Notes 2024. "What did you think you'd find?" I whispered to my phone. Veronica didn't answer. She couldn't. The room went quiet. The younger analyst glanced between them, confused. Mark straightened slowly, his expression changing. Veronica recovered first. "Bag it," she said too quickly. "We'll review it." I locked my phone and finished my lunch with shaking hands. When I returned to the office, the atmosphere had shifted. Mark and the analyst stood stiffly near my desk. Veronica turned last, forcing a smile that never reached her eyes. "Lauren," she said lightly. "We didn't expect you back so soon." "I noticed," I replied. Mark cleared his throat. "We found a binder in your bottom drawer." "May I see it?" I asked. He handed it to me. I opened it calmly and turned the pages toward them. "These are altered reports, time-stamped edits, override logs, and contradictory instructions," I said evenly. "They correspond to encrypted digital copies." The younger analyst frowned. You told us she was hiding client data. I said she was hiding something, Veronica snapped. Mark exhaled slowly. There's more. The webcam recorded the search. Including your directives. Veronica went still. For the first time, the certainty she wore like armor cracked. And the trap she built for me snapped shut around her instead. The next morning, internal audit called me into conference room C. The blinds were half closed. Printed logs covered the table, highlighted and annotated. Mark Reynolds gestured for me to sit, his expression unreadable. We are opening a formal misconduct investigation, he said. We need clarity. Veronica wasn't there. That absence said more than any accusation ever could. What inconsistencies? I asked. The younger analyst slid a document toward me. Your manager claims you triggered a restricted access anomaly the night before the search. I scanned the page. The alert was timestamped late, well after I'd left the building. I wasn't logged in, I said. We know, Mark replied, turning his laptop toward me. These are the server logs. Your account shows no activity. He scrolled. But hers does. A line blinked on the screen. User, V. Hale, admin override, 2350. Mark continued. She told us she never accesses systems after hours. That's not true, I said quietly. He nodded. Others confirmed that. By mid-morning, the whispers started. I thought Lauren was the issue. Veronica said she found evidence. Then why are they questioning her? Around noon, Veronica appeared near my desk, her confidence stretched thin. If anyone asks, she said sharply, tell them the binder was a misunderstanding. You don't want this getting ugly. It already is, I replied. Her eyes flashed. You're manipulative. No, I said calmly. I document. She stepped back, something close to panic flickering across her face. That afternoon, Mark returned. We found additional altered approvals, he said. All tied to her credentials. The truth wasn't creeping anymore. It was accelerating. By midweek, compliance shifted from questioning to reconstruction. Every override. Every edit. Every contradiction laid out across a long table in conference room E. Veronica stood at the far end, arms crossed tight. The pattern is consistent, Mark said. Every irregularity originates from your manager's access. You're twisting this, Veronica snapped. Lauren's dramatic. This isn't interpretation, the analyst replied. It's system data. One by one, co-workers stepped forward. Jenna from my team spoke first. She told me Lauren already approved a violation. I never saw proof. Tom from finance followed. She blamed me for an error she caused. The room went still. Mark placed another document in front of me, an unsigned draft with my name typed into the approval field. The formatting was wrong. The timestamp impossible. I didn't create this, I said. We know, Mark replied. It appears to have been planted. Veronica's story collapsed in real time. Not loudly, but completely. The final review was scheduled for Thursday morning. They booked the largest conference room on the 14th floor, the one reserved for quarterly briefings and board updates. No one touched the coffee or pastries lining the wall. Every chair faced the screen compliance had set up at the front. Mark Reynolds opened the meeting. We will walk through the timeline, he said. All findings are sourced directly from system records. Veronica sat 3 seats down from me. Her jaw was tight, her foot tapping against the carpet in uneven bursts. The first slide appeared, 2 versions of the same risk report. My signed copy on the left. The altered version on the right. The timestamps told the story. The second slide listed forced approvals tied to administrative overrides. Each one traced back to the same credentials. User, V. Hale. A murmur rippled through the room. The third slide displayed recovered email drafts, messages deleted but pulled from the server archive. Each showed contradictory instructions issued to different teams. Veronica lifted her chin. The system's been unstable for months. The younger analyst stepped forward. These were manual entries. We verified keystrokes. Silence spread. The final slide appeared. Unauthorized edits. Override log 11 p.m. 23:41:030 all under her name. The director stood, smoothing his jacket. Ms. Hale, he said calmly, these actions constitute deliberate manipulation of risk data, and attempted entrapment of an employee. Veronica shot to her feet. This is absurd. You are dismissed from your managerial role effective immediately, he continued. Security will escort you to collect your belongings. Her protest died in her throat. Then he turned to me. Ms. Pierce, your record is clear. Your conduct throughout this process is formally recognized. I nodded once, steadying my breath, as security guided Veronica from the room. No shouting. No spectacle. Just consequences. The weight of it lingered long, after the door closed behind her. Later that day, the director called me into his office. Your actions demonstrated discipline and integrity we depend on, he said, sliding a folder toward me. We are creating a new role, Director of Process Integrity and Ethical Oversight. We'd like you to lead it. I stuttered the title. I'll accept, I said slowly, on one condition. Protections for employees who report inconsistencies must be permanent. He nodded. You'll have authority to implement immutable transparency logs and multi-level authorization. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled. When I stepped back onto the floor, people were gathered near Veronica's empty office. Her door stood open. Drawers bare. HR and security escorted her past us moments later. She tried to swipe her badge out of habit. The red light blinked back. She froze, then walked on, her certainty gone. The office felt different after Veronica left. Not quieter, just clearer. Her name vanished from meeting invites. Her authority dissolved into policy updates and revised org charts. The space she once dominated became a reminder of how fragile unchecked power really was. I spent my first week in the new role reviewing legacy systems. Overrides were replaced with dual authentication. Approval chains were locked behind immutable logs. No more invisible edits. No more whispered directives. People started coming forward. A junior analyst admitted she'd been told to adjust a risk rating months earlier. Another employee shared screenshots of late-night messages that never sat right. Each account aligned with the same pattern. Veronica hadn't been a singular problem. She'd been a symptom. Compliance compiled everything into a final report, clean, clinical, undeniable. It didn't speculate motive. It documented impact. Lost trust. Manipulated controls. Systemic exposure. The board reviewed it in silence. Then they voted. By the end of the month, new governance standards were published company-wide. Transparency became policy, not personality-driven discretion. On my desk sat the binder. The one Veronica had tried to use against me. It now carried a new label, Case study: ethical failure and recovery. HR asked if I wanted my name removed. I declined. Let people see what happens when documentation outlasts intimidation, I said. One afternoon, Mark stopped by my office. You know, he said, leaning against the doorframe, she thought you were playing a long game. I smiled faintly. I wasn't playing anything. That night, I packed up later than usual. The office lights dimmed automatically as I walked past Veronica's former workspace. The chair was gone. The nameplate removed. Power leaves no echo when it isn't earned. Weeks later, I received a forwarded message from an external recruiter. Subject: former manager seeking reference. I deleted it without response. Some endings don't require commentary. I stepped outside into the evening air, city lights reflecting off the glass behind me. 4 years, I'd believed professionalism meant staying silent. I was wrong. It meant staying accurate. I didn't expose her. The systems did. I just made sure they were allowed to speak. And in the end, that was enough.